Hey guys, welcome to another video. I hope you guys are all doing good, and today we are looking at an Asus model K55A laptop. This particular laptop, it won't power on at all, so today I thought I'd take it apart, show you guys how to tear these things down and attempt to fix. But as always, I'm just a novice, so I don't really know what I'm doing, so I will just start taking things apart and we'll see if we can find anything obviously wrong with it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the output of the charger. According to that, it should be 19 volts, so let's make sure we're getting 19 volts through that. I'm just going to pop that on the edge of there, right down the end of there. Yep, so that's fine. So the charge, nothing wrong with the charger. So I'm going to start taking this thing apart and let's see how we get on with it. Okay, so first things first, let's actually show you what's actually happening here. So if I put the power connector in and then push the power button down, getting absolutely nothing there. There should be a little light on there as well, so that's not happening at all. They do say online one of the easiest fixes is to hold this power button down for about 30 seconds to a minute, and that should discharge inside and reset the BIOS, I believe. I think that's what it was, so I will try that first before we go any further. Not really expecting to fix this today. This video is more about how to take these apart if you wanted to change the palm rest, touchpad, getting access to the keyboard, hard drives, fans, may even get down to the heatsink, and may even show you how to repaste that with some thermal paste. Obviously they need doing as well. This laptop's pretty old now. I think it's about 10 years old. I will check on that. Okay, so that's discharged now, so put the power cable back in again and see if that's done any good, but it hasn't. There should be a little light indicating there. There's nothing on the front either. There's no let me show you down here. So down here there should be some lights, and we've got no charge light, nothing at all in there. So on the basis of that, as always, there's nothing to lose by taking things apart if you're not too worried about it. This laptop has now been replaced anyway, so ideal candidate for taking apart, and there's an attempt at a fix. Okay, I will be right back, and let's see if we can start tearing it down. Okay, so this laptop looks like it was released in November 2012, so it is pretty much 11 years old as of today. I've already taken out the battery, and I've also taken out these two screws here, and then this panel here, rather than lifting it, you just need to pull it downwards, lift, and then take it away. Otherwise you will snap these little clips underneath here if you just try pulling it upwards. So yeah, you just push it in like that, pull it down, up, and then away. There's going to be a lot of parts coming out of here today, no doubt. Massive shout out to everyone who watched my last video with my CD player. That worked out really well in the end. As I've always say, if you take things apart, sometimes it will jog something, move something, bring it back to life. It's always worth a chance if you're prepared to take things apart and have a go. I've been doing this sort of thing for years, so I just sort of thought I'd start documenting what I do, really. Yeah, I've been taking things apart since I was a little kid, and obviously these days with YouTube you can show what you do. So yeah, I thought I'd take some time out and start making videos, random stuff, everything from cars to property DIY, all the way to electronical things really, whatever comes my way. So yeah, hopefully bring you guys a lot more videos in the future. Hope you find them informative. I'm not always correct in what I do, but I like to think that hopefully they will help you, even if it saves you some time when I make mistakes, so you can see, you know, how to do things quicker as well, save you guys a bit of time. And it's all a learning curve for all of us, isn't it? Okay, so just taking it, I've only got one screw here, so I'm going to take this one out. This is for the hard drive enclosure. So let's see if we can get this one right out. Just going to try and keep all my screws and everything in different sections so I know where they are. So what I'm going to do is all of the outside case screws I'm going to put together, and then all of these screws, anything else I find that are different. This one's a little chrome one, so I'm just going to pop that one into there. So we'll start on the outside. There's going to be quite a few of them, I think. Just spotted another chrome one there. I'll keep all these black ones together. So all of these ones are from this particular area. So keep all these ones together. Not sure how much of this I'll be able to do on the bench today. I may have to put it on the floor, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, I think that's pretty much all of them out from this area down here, and then we've got some more up here. So I'm going to have these two at the top. Looks like there's just 2 in each corner. These look to be a little bit bigger, maybe because they're on the hinges. Just compare it with another one. I don't know if you can see that or not. Just put these ones in there. There's not a lot in it, but you can clearly see that one there is skinnier than that one there, and I should imagine that's because these are for the hinges in this corner, so it needs a bit more strength. So these are slightly thicker, these corner ones, so there's 4 of them, so we'll put them separate. Yep. Always worth keeping an eye out for that, because they do, you know, on the face of it, they do look pretty similar, but when you really look at them, they're not. So we've got the 4 thicker ones here, and then all the thinner ones are there. And I think that's pretty much all of the screws out of the back here. So the hard drive, I think this one just slides to the left like that, and you just grab hold of this little tab and pull it up. And this one's got a 320 gigabyte hard drive in there. And then, okay, these here are the RAM sticks, and to release them they have these 2 little metal clips either side. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. These little metal clips, these little metal tabs here and here, and you just push them both sideways like that, and then the RAM stick will come upwards. You can see that. Show you when they're down, see? Push them together like that, and that releases it upwards. And then just wiggle it out. And there is a little slot I should imagine these are DDR3 with the age of the machine. I think DDR4 are different, maybe, I'm not sure. But this particular one's got like a little slot just here, so you can't actually put them in upside down, otherwise the slot where it marries up to, which is there, would obviously be on the wrong side, so you can only put them the way around. But what I will do is, I've actually got one's green and one's blue, so I'll make sure that the blue goes back in on the bottom. Whether it makes any difference or not, it probably doesn't, but I like the things to go back as best as they came out. So I'm just going to put these to one side. This thing here, this is the Wi-Fi card. It's got two little cables attached to it, and they're just push down fits. So all we've got to do with these is just raise them off the little lug that they're attached to. So I'm just going to grab hold of it here and then just lift, and it should pop off like that, and like that. So yeah, we've got a white one and a black one just here, and then there is a screw holding this down just there, very small screw, so this will be going separate. It's a tiny little screw. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take the Wi-Fi card out, and then I'm going to put the screw, leave the screw with it. And the screw went into that hole there. So again, I'm just going to put that to one side. Okay, so that's all of the screws out from around the outside. All the ones across here. Got the hard drive out, RAMs are out, Wi-Fi cards out, batteries out. So to get into these, what we need to do is we need to split it from the palm rest, from the bottom cover. So it's going to be all along this edge here, all around the sides. So what I tend to do is I'm going to get one of these little pick type plectrum type things, and then probably going to start from this side over here. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get this on camera, if I'm honest. Not a lot of room up here on the bench for a laptop. Let's see if we can just do it like this. I'm just going to put it in there, and I'm just going to wiggle as I go, and you'll hear the little snap clips. And it should pop away like that. And I'm just going to run it all the way down. Okay, I think that's pretty much all of them. Feels like there's a little bit of resistance up here still, so I'm not going to try to stress them too much. Does feel like there's still a little bit of resistance here. Now it could be just one of these little snap clips, or it could be a screw that I've missed. So I think to be on the safe side, I'm just going to flip it back over again. Just double check that I've got them. Okay, so this here, there's going to be, I think there's going to be a screw underneath there. So I'm just going to get a smaller screwdriver, just try and pop it into this hole. Now it's just held down with double-sided tape by the looks of things. And there is another screw in there. So it's always worth double checking, just in case. Because if you if you kept on pulling, that would have just broken that right off. Normally there shouldn't be much resistance at all once those little snap clips have come away. So this screw is definitely different from all the rest. So I'm going to pop it in here with the two little silver ones. One of those was for the hard drive and the other one was for there. It's actually got a little mark in here as well. It says like I don't know, M2X4. So it's the only one that's actually labelled with a screw number on it. Also, so now I've taken that screw out, pretty sure we've got a CD DVD drive here, and I'm pretty sure that screw secures that in. There is a little metal square in here, so I'm going to just give that a little push like that. So I'll just put my screwdriver in there and then just lever it to the left. There we go. One CD drive. Okay, so where were we? Let's go back, flip it back over again. Now this palm rest should come right off now, hopefully. So there was resistance around this area. Okay, it is completely away now. Now I won't be able to show this too easily on camera, I don't think. Maybe if I pull it to me and then lift it up. But yeah, inside here we've got some ribbon cables. One's for the keyboard, another one for the power button, and the other one for the touchpad. Let's see if I can show you this. So we've got one here, and then one there. So these, they've got little lever clips on them, so I'm just going to poke my fingernail underneath there and then lift it up. And the same with this one. Just these little swing clamps. There's one there, and there's another one there, and then there's another one here. This one's for the power button. So to do this, and to test it, I am going to need the power button back on there at some point. But for now, that's those three disconnected. And there we go. So obviously main motherboard, up here we've got the power connector where the 19 volts come in, obviously our fan, CMOS battery, and then another ribbon cable here, and another power connector there. I think that one there may be for the actual screen. But there's a good chance there's probably another cable on the bottom as well. I'm not sure which one does what. Okay, so yeah, more screws. We've got one here, and one here, and one up there as well. These have got like little arrows on the motherboard, just next to the screw, so you know where to put them back in case you're not sure. So I'm going to take these ones out. This one up the top here doesn't have a arrow as far as I can see, so that's just one we're going to have to remember. But yeah, these 4 screws, put these somewhere safe, just here, and then this ribbon cable, take that off. Yeah, so it's just this white lever bar there, little clamp, and just swing that upwards. And we've got this power connector here, and then the main one, which is there. I'm actually going to have a look at this this battery. I'm going to just test that as well. Let's do that first. We can just pop it up out of here. Screwdriver's a bit big for that. So these batteries, it's a CR2032. It should be 3 volts. So I'm just going to test that, make sure it is. So there's nothing wrong with the battery, that's fine. I'm assuming, you know, a battery that's over 10 years old may have been a problem with it, so it's always worth checking. To put these back in, there's a solid bar at the back and a spring clip at the front. So just push it into the housing and then keep pushing that way, and then it drops down. So that's nice and simple. So we'll try and take this multi-plug out. I'm not sure how this one comes out. There's a couple of white little clips either side of it. I'm not sure if that, yeah, that's it. So you just push towards the screen on these 2 little white clips. I think to test the voltages on the board, it may have to be done from underneath. Not 100% sure. It feels like there's another plug underneath, so I'll have a little look for that. Yeah, there is. So it's just there. There we go, that was very tight. You obviously got to be careful not to pull on these cables too hard. I mean, if you've been used to taking electronics apart, you get an idea of how much you can give it before you break it. So it just helps it along with the tweezers there as well. I'm not sure of this little tab. I mean, I was trying to push it down, but it didn't seem to make any difference. But hopefully now it must be, yeah, our board is now free. So underneath here we're going to have the processor and thermal paste. Keep these things cool. They tend to dry out, I don't know, 5-6 years. You're supposed to take these things apart or send them away to have the thermal paste replaced. You'll notice if it's overheating, if the fan's blowing all the time and it's ramping up. It's a good idea to have this replaced. For me, obviously I'm not sure if we're getting any power to the board or not, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and plug it back in again, but it's very awkward the way things are, having the base unit here, having this separate. I'm wondering whether I can perhaps plug the big cable back in again and then see if we get any power across these 2 terminals here. One's actually got plus written on it. So yeah, I think that's the next thing we're going to do. So I will pause you and see if I can get this set up in a better position to test that. So I will be right back. So I've set this up a little bit better. Just put a cloth down to protect the screen. I've had to re-plug in that little white cable because that goes straight to the charger port, and I've also plugged in the bigger one on the other side that we just pushed out. I'm just going to check now that I'm getting 19 volts around this connector. It appears to have 3 red wires and 3 black wires, so I'm not going to go anywhere near the black ones because I don't want to short this out. So I'm just going to put black one there, and then I'm going to probe to this first red pin just here. Let's see what we've got. It should be 19 volts or more, and it is 1937, and the same next to it as well. and the same next to that. As I say, they're the 6 pins, 3 black, 3 red, so I'm not going to touch the black ones. So we know we're getting voltage around this port, so that's definitely a good thing. But to why it's still not working, I don't know. I think the best thing for me to do now is I'm probably going to try and flip the board back over again, and have another look around, do some more probing, see if we can get some more voltage in and around the board, see if there's any other parts of it that are showing 19 volts. I should imagine at some point there will be a reducer, like a resistor, to bring it down to a lower voltage. I can't imagine the whole board requires 19 volts. It's more going to be a lot more like 5, I should imagine. But again, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm assuming that's what I'll be looking for. So if I do see a 5 volt somewhere, then I'd expect that to be correct. Okay, I'm going to pause you here. I'm going to do a bit more probing around, see if we can find some more voltage lines. So after doing a little bit more probing around, I have found that there's still 19 volts showing in various places. So I think it's starts up around here, so there's one there, and then it follows through to one there, and we've got a couple of coils here, and I'm pretty sure I can actually trace it all the way down to this section of the board as well. I was just probing around here, managed to find a 19 volt. So we've got 5 volts down there on that coil, which I'd expect to see, and then 19 volts there. So at the moment it all seems to be as expected, really. Nothing around that coil there though. So if it is a component that's broken, then I'm not gonna be able to diagnose it. I didn't go into this video expecting to be able to fix this laptop. I was just hoping to be able to show you guys how to take it apart, and if I did manage to fix it along the way, then that would have been a bonus. But not everything is fixable. In better hands maybe it would be. So I think going forward from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can take off this heatsink and fan, just so I can show you the thermal paste, and yeah, let's see how it looks after 11 years. So I'm going to get this back dismantled, so I've just got the motherboard, and then we'll go from there. So I'm now going to try and take this assembly apart here and get down to the CPU. Appears to be 4 screws around the outside, and I think that there may be a lock for the actual processor itself, so I'm not sure if they'll undo that yet. I'm just going to take these ones off around the outside first, and how I'm going to do it is I'm going to do it diagonally, a few turns at a time, just to put as less stress as possible. It's not been done before. There was a little kind of warranty label there, so I'm just going in across like diagonal, a few turns at a time, just try and release it as evenly as possible. And it's the same when you put it back together again. Okay, so I should be able to take these out now. Going to release the fan connector. Okay, so as you can see there is little to no thermal paste left. It's pretty much all gone. You guys can see that or not? But yeah, there's little to no thermal paste on that. And the same on the heatsink itself. There was a bit of resistance there trying to take it off, but it's because it's been on there, 11 years. So you have to be careful not to bend all this arm when you are taking it off. So it's probably not the best idea to waste thermal paste, but I think for the sake of the video, because I don't think this is going to work after I've finished. As I said a few times, it's mainly a teardown video just to show you how to get into this, if nothing else, so you can see how to change your thermal paste. Yeah, it's very, very crusty. It's been on there a long time. I'm just going to get the worst off and then go over it with a cotton bud, and then do the same to the heatsink, and then just put a blob of thermal paste on there, sorry, the correct amount of thermal paste on there. So if you do notice your laptop is overheating and you are feeling brave, then this would probably rectify the overheating issues, especially if it's a fairly old laptop. Wow, that's really on there. But whether it be a laptop or a games console, anything that requires thermal paste, the process is much the same. I refurbish a lot of PlayStation 3s, particularly the backwards compatible ones, and this is a required job. They were released in 2006, so being sort of 17 years old now, the launch models. Yeah, they all require thermal paste replacement, but it comes with practice, the same as anything really. Okay, that's clean enough for the CPU. Now I'm just going to have a little look at this heatsink and do the same. Just put the board to one side. I don't think I'm going to be as lucky as I was in my last video, but that's still going great. Been playing some CDs on it, and yeah, it just needed a little bit of love. The old girl. That CD player, as I said in the video, I've had it since the early 90s, so yeah, to get that running again, and by not really doing much, to be honest, it was literally just taking it apart and putting it back together, and learnt a few things along the way as well, and hopefully saved you guys some time if you're thinking about taking your one apart. It's yeah, always worth investigating before you throw things away, if that's your kind of thing. Okay, so that's all cleaned up as well, looking good. Right, let's find some thermal paste. I think I've got some MX2 or MX4 kicking around somewhere. Because as I said before, I don't think this is going to work. But I thought that about the CD player, so you never know. Oh, there we go, got some MX4, that'll do. At the moment everyone's been waiting for the correct amount of thermal paste. I mean, it's everyone does this differently. For me, for a CPU that small, I'm just going to put a tiny little blob on there. Or just a grain, so there we go. That'll be more than enough. Make sure we get this around the right way. Once you've pressed it down, then you don't really want to be moving it around again. I'm just going to line up the screw holes. Tiny little bit of pressure there. That'll do for now. I'm going to start with this yellow screw because we know where that one goes. They are all the same though. I'm just going to give it a few turns to get it started and do the opposite corner. Diagonal corner. So by doing each corner like this, I know you can't see it too well on camera, but by going each diagonal, it just lays it back down again evenly. Everyone's got their own methods. I should imagine some people will say, oh, it don't matter, but yeah, it's just a habit I'm into. And then the final, just a little nip on each corner. Get rid of some label as well. Right, okay. Just plug the fan connector back in. And that is done. So as I said before, we've checked a few bits and pieces, haven't we? We looked at the CMOS battery, we checked a few voltages, a few rail lines, a few voltages, but I am a novice, so I don't really know how to go much further with these things. I'm just going to clean up the board here. There seems to be a little bit of something there, not sure what that is. No, it looks fine, not sure what that was. It's quite dusty, but you'd expect that being this old. So whether it's a major component that's stopped working, you know, something like these, it could possibly be. So I think I've gone as far as I can go with it. I'm just going to pop it all back together again now. So I'll see if I can have a clear up on the desk, and I'll bring you guys back and see if we can rebuild it. Okay, so I'll bring you back here. All I've done so far is reconnect the power cable to the underside of the board, and then positioned everything down. So I put the motherboard in that way for all these ports to go into their sections in the plastic, and then just made sure everything's located down. I did notice here around this area the fan needs to be centralised to the underneath the motherboard for this tool to sit down, although it was a bit bouncy around this area. So just make sure that these two bits here are down. There's a little lug that pushes through to the other side of the motherboard, just here. If that's not poking through, then the motherboard won't sit down properly. And then I just made sure that this cable was coming through this little cut out of the motherboard here, which is going to go back into there. And then it's just a case of putting things back together again. So that connector goes in there, this one goes into this, and it's just a push fit. So I just want to make sure that's completely home. There's two little white lugs on the side, so I'm just putting my fingernails on them and then just pulling it to me to make sure it's all the way back. And then make sure these wires are all sitting down there, and then we've got this one here, so we just want that little white bar to be up. And make sure that's completely level going in. So that was on, that one's back. We've got that in, we've got that in, and now we're just going to put some screws back in. So as I said earlier, these screws, they've all got arrows, so you know where to put them back. Judging by the feel of that, I'm taking that one back out because I think, yeah, that one's thicker than the rest. So I'm going to guess that one's for the fan up there, just like it was on the hinges on the underneath of the cover. Those two bigger ones being in the corners. I could tell it wasn't going down properly because the motherboard was starting to lift as I was screwing it in. So yeah, we'll go with the three. I think. Yeah, there's only one that's bigger than the other three. So these three all must go in here. Let's try this one up here now. This is the bigger one. That seems to be it. Okay, that's all the motherboard screws back in again. Okay, so now it's time to put the palm rest and keyboard back on again. So again, because this is like being done on a desk, this isn't going to be too easy to show you how to do this because it's all underneath. But as I explained earlier, there's three cables, one for the keyboard, one for the touchpad, and one for the power button. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video and then put these back in again. Well, I'm not going to lie, that was a bit of a faff trying to put those three ribbon cables back in, but I've got it done. There's not a lot of room when the palm rest and keyboard, the gap between that and the length of the ribbon cables, there's not a lot of room, so far easier just to do that off camera. So now I'm just going to clip this all back down again. I'm going to start at the back and then just hopefully just snap all this back down again. You see there's no gaps. If you do see a little bit of warping, you just need to make sure that's all back down again. But that's all done. So I think I'm going to start with the CD drive. I just need to slide this back in again. And just to make sure it's home, I'm going to do the opposite of what I did last time and just put a screwdriver in and just lever that way, which pulls the drive in. That is tiny. Magnetic screwdriver is always handy when it comes to doing these. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll put these up, the hard drive, the RAM and the Wi-Fi card back in on camera, and you don't need me to see me screw all back together again, so I'll do that afterwards. So yeah, put the RAM in first. So that was the blue one on the bottom and then the green one on the top. So I'm just literally making sure that it goes right the way home, and then push it down. When you hit the click, you know you're there. And the hard drive, so this hard drive that's got this bar on it here, and that goes into a slot into the case like that, so it can lay flat, and then you slide the whole thing to the right, so then it goes into the connector there. And that adjusts the one screw, didn't it? I'm going to go for the slightly different size and go for the slightly bigger one, I think. And then as we've got this silver one, that went into that one there. As I said earlier, it's the one that's marked with M2. Now the Wi-Fi card, the white wire went on the right hand side, so I pushed it into its slot, and it's on a spring, so you need to keep that held down while you screw it down. The screw went on the left hand side, and they need to be level as well at the same time. A bit fiddly. I'm going to hold it there with my fingernail and then lift the back end of the cable up. You'll know when it's there because you'll feel it. That's it. Just hear a little thump as it goes down. That's both of them in. Okay, so as I say, I'll pause you now. I'll put all these screws back in again, and then we'll give it a test. Not holding out much hope. Don't really feel like I've done that much to it, but you never know with these things, so it's definitely worth a shot. Okay, I'll be right back. So I've put all the screws back in again, all the ones around the sides here, and then the 4 bigger ones in the corners, and a couple by the battery. So all that's left to put back on now is this cover. So all we do is offer it in like that and then push it upwards. Should be a couple of screws for it back here, and then we're going to give this a test. As I said before though, not holding out too much hope on it. Don't really feel like I've done much to it to make any kind of a difference, but I do feel in the right hands this is probably repairable, as we are getting voltages across the board. But at least in this video you have seen how to take these things apart, and if you wanted to maybe reapply some new thermal paste, check your CMOS battery, and just not to be too frightened to take things apart. We don't get a win every time, but it's certainly worth a try. So yeah, so let's give this a go. So I'm just going to plug in the power. I can see already there's no charging light or power light at the front come on, so I don't think this is going to be a win. No, it's still the same, which is a shame. But as I said before, if you don't try, you'll never know. Okay guys, can I leave this one here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video. And please consider subscribing and liking the video if you found it helpful, useful. And I will catch you on the next one. I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching guys. Take care of yourselves.